ChatGPT said. The galaxy had waited a long time. Yeah, for years. Signals were sent to Earth. Some were friendly, some were warnings, and some were just noise. But Earth stayed silent. Then one day the silence broke. A simple reply came through space. Message received, we come in peace. No one believed it at first. The humans had always been a mystery, watching from far away, never answering. But now they were coming. On the diplomatic moon of Zarian Prime, a special landing pad was built just for them. Bright lights, banners, and flags from over 50 species decorated the space. The Galactic Council stood ready to welcome the humans. News crews floated in the air, recording everything. Every eye in the galaxy was watching. The moment was historic. Peace between Earth and the galaxy was finally happening. The human ship landed quietly. It wasn't big. It wasn't armed. It looked simple, silver metal, smooth design, and the symbol of Earth painted on its side. The hatch opened slowly, and 5 humans walked out. They wore dark uniforms, not too formal, but neat and strong. The leader stepped forward. His name was Captain Daniel Ellis. His face was calm, but his eyes were sharp. Next to him was a young woman, a child, and 2 other officers. Ambassador Kira of the Zelari species welcomed them with a bright smile and open arms. Welcome. Friends of Earth, she said. You're honored by your presence. Captain Ellis gave a small nod. We are honored too. We bring greetings from our world and hopes for peace. The words were perfect. Everyone clapped. But something felt strange. As the humans spoke and smiled, the council noticed something odd. Before landing, the human ship had sent a private message into deep space. It was fast, encrypted, and not shared with anyone. The signal was too strong to miss, but no one knew what it meant. Was it a message to Earth? Was it a secret code? The Council's intelligence officers tried to decode it, but it was impossible. Human tech had evolved fast, too fast. During the welcome ceremony, Captain Ellis stayed polite, but quiet. He didn't ask many questions. He didn't take many pictures. His officers looked around a lot, scanning everything, noting every exit, every camera, every shadow. It was like they were expecting trouble. Ambassador Kira noticed it too. Is something wrong, Captain? She asked gently. He smiled. No, nothing at all. We are just careful. It's our first visit after all. It's a child traveling with. Them was Ellis's daughter, Arya. She looked around in wonder, her small hands holding a floating toy that lit up with stars. She giggled and waved at the alien children. They waved back, curious and excited. For a moment, everything felt pure and hopeful. A real future of peace seemed possible. But deep inside, the feeling of tension didn't go away. Later that day, the council arranged a private dinner. Foods from over 20 planets were placed on the table. Music played softly, and stories were shared. Captain Ellis was friendly, but still guarded. He didn't drink. He didn't laugh. Every 30 minutes, he checked a small device on his wrist. No one asked about it. No one dared. After the dinner, when the humans returned to their guest rooms, a Zelari technician noticed something strange. The humans had set up a small satellite device on top of their ship. It was pointed away from the moon into deep space. The signal was active. But what was it doing? Why was it hidden? Technician told his commander. The commander told the council. A secret meeting was held at once. Are they spying? One council member asked. No, another replied. They're calling someone, but who? The room fell silent. A theory was whispered. Maybe Earth didn't come alone. Maybe this small ship was just the start. Maybe something else, something bigger, was coming. Back in his room, Captain Ellis stood by the window, looking at the stars. His daughter was asleep. His officers were silent, waiting. Ellis spoke in a low voice. They're watching us closely. One officer nodded. Yes, sir, but they don't see it yet. Ellis glanced at his wrist device. A red light blinked once, then it stopped. Good, he said. They'll come soon.
Outside.
The stars twinkled peacefully.
The galaxy
Still believed the humans had come in peace. But far away, beyond the edge of known space, something massive began to move. The real face of Earth was still hidden, and the countdown had already begun. Across the galaxy, the welcome of Earth's first contact was still on every screen.
House.
News channels played the ceremony over and over. People cheered. Children pointed at the humans and laughed with joy. Most species thought it was a new beginning. But in the dark corners of space, not everyone was so happy. Some watched the human ship with careful eyes. Some felt uneasy. One of them had proof that something was wrong. His name was Jero. He was not part of the Galactic Council. He worked in shadows, stealing secrets and selling them to the highest bidder. Jero was from the Inari species, thin, tall, and with sharp senses. When he saw the humans land on Zarin Prime, he didn't see peace. He saw a mystery.
House.
And mysteries made him rich. Jero worked near the central relay station of the Council's data grid. It was one of the most secure places in the system. But Jero had tools. He had skills. Most importantly, he had no fear. While others watched the welcome speeches, Jero broke into the signal logs. He found the strange message the humans had sent before landing. It was not long, just a short, powerful burst sent into deep space. He copied it, tried to open it. The code was strong. Layers upon layers of protection blocked the signal. He had never seen anything like it. Council encryption took him 5 minutes. This code didn't even let him in. It just shut down his system. Twice, but Jero didn't give up. He knew what that meant. This message was not for show. It was real, important, and maybe dangerous. He sent a report to his buyer, a rich arms dealer from the Lokar system. The dealer replied fast, "Keep digging. If the humans brought weapons, we must know." Jero agreed. He didn't believe Earth came. With just smiles and handshakes, something else was moving behind the curtains. Back on Zarin Prime, the human crew stayed calm. Captain Ellis met with council members during the day. His officers walked the moon cities. They asked questions, visited schools, and even spoke to reporters. It all looked normal, but behind every word was control. Behind every smile was planning. The humans were careful. Kira tried to understand Ellis better. She invited him to a private meeting without cameras. "Over warm drinks?" she asked. "You seem very cautious, Captain. Is there something you expect?" Ellis looked at her, silent for a second. Then he spoke. "We don't take chances. Our history taught us that." Kira leaned forward. "We offered full protection. No weapons, no threats here." Ellis gave a small smile. "You've been kind. But Earth has its own ways. We prepare for every future, even the bad ones." Kira didn't know how to respond. She could feel something hidden behind those words, something cold. But Ellis stood up politely and said, "We still hope for peace, but peace is earned." Far from the moon, in the command center of the council, panic had begun. The signal the humans sent had changed direction. It now aimed toward a dark part of space, a place called Sector 13. No one lived there. It was just empty stars. But now, a new energy signature was showing up. Something was coming, and it was moving fast. Council Admiral Theros was called to the chamber. "Is it a ship?" a member asked. Theros replied, "We don't know yet. But the signal path matches Earth's code structure." The room went cold. "So, they called something." Someone whispered. "A second ship. A fleet." No one knew. At the same time, Jero finally broke a tiny part of the code. Just 3 words. "Alert. Activate protocol." That was enough. He sent the message quickly. The humans didn't come alone. News of this didn't reach the public. The council feared chaos. So they smiled for the cameras and showed happy scenes. But their eyes stayed on the stars, waiting, watching. Captain Ellis returned to his room. His daughter Arya drew pictures of the moon's creatures. His officers stood near the window looking into space. One said, "Signal received, movement confirmed." Ellis nodded. "They're almost here." He turned off the lights and whispered, "Let's see how long the council pretends not to notice." Above them, in the sky that still looked peaceful, Something large entered sensor range. Silent, fast, and very, very human. The sky over Zarin Prime was quiet, but deep in space, something dark and massive was moving closer. The Council's long-range scanners finally picked up the shape. First they thought it was a large asteroid, but then it turned. Asteroids don't turn, ships do. Inside the Council Command Center, red lights flashed. Screens showed a huge object slowly entering the outer edge of the star system. Unidentified ship detected, said one officer. It's not answering our signals. But the engine trail, it matches Earth's technology. Admiral Theros stood up. His face turned pale. Size, he asked. Over 20 kilometers. The officer replied, It's bigger than our largest dreadnought. The room went silent. The message from the ship came next. Short, cold, and powerful. Terran Battleship Oblivion. Standing by, do not engage. No one had ever heard of this ship before. The name alone sent fear through every commander in the room. The voice was not human. It was a machine voice. Deep, robotic, calm. But behind that calm was power too. Much power. Ambassador Kira rushed to contact Captain Ellis. She demanded answers. You brought a warship, she shouted. Said this was peaceful contact. Ellis didn't look surprised. His voice was calm, just like the battleships. Yes, we brought Oblivion. It's standard procedure. We never go anywhere alone. Kira's hand shook. That ship could destroy this moon. Ellis nodded. It could, but it won't, unless someone gives it a reason. Back in the city, people began to panic. News drones flew everywhere. Screens showed the dark shape of the battleship now. Visible on long-range telescopes, it blocked stars. Didn't move fast, but it didn't need to. It's just the sight of it froze everyone. Shops closed. Schools were locked. Ships started leaving the moon. Council security tried to calm people down, but the fear was too strong. This was no longer a peaceful visit. This was a silent warning. The Council sent patrol ships toward Oblivion. Stay back, Theros ordered. Just watch it. Don't go too close. But the scouts couldn't help but stare. Their scans showed heavy armor, deep power cores, and strange weapons they didn't even recognize. No weak points, no blind spots. One scout pilot whispered, this ship wasn't made to scare pirates. It was made to fight whole empires. Jero, the Inari spy, watched everything from a hidden station. He had never seen anything like this. Even black market tech didn't have info on Oblivion. It was a ghost, a secret weapon, and now it was real. He sent one message to his buyer, Earth never trusted us. This was never just a visit, this is a test. Back at the human base, Captain Ellis stood at the window of his ship. His daughter Arya sat quietly nearby, watching cartoons on a small screen. She didn't know the fear outside. Ellis glanced at his officers. Any movement from the Council, he asked. Defensive ships in orbit, said Lieutenant Harper. Scanners locking on USB, no one fired yet. Ellis gave a slow nod. They won't fire first. They're afraid. They just don't want to show it. Inside the Council war room, leaders argued. We should demand they move that ship, one shouted. And what if they don't? Another replied. Do we shoot? Theros looked at them all. If we shoot, we die. Kira was quiet. She remembered something Captain Ellis said the night before. Peace is only real if you have strength to protect it. Maybe Earth didn't come to start war. Maybe Earth came to show what war looked like if peace failed. On the edge of the system, Oblivion stayed still. Its engines glowed softly. Its weapons stayed cold. But every ship near it felt the pressure. It was like standing next to a sleeping beast. One wrong move, and it would wake. Suddenly, the moon's gravity shifted slightly. All scanners picked up a strong energy wave. Something else had entered the system, but it wasn't from Earth. It wasn't from the Council. It was something unknown. Back in the Council chamber, panic grew again. Another ship. Where from? Is it one of ours? No answers. Captain Ellis received the alert at the same time. He looked at the data and narrowed his eyes. That's not one of ours. He turned to his crew. Battle stations. I want Oblivion ready. Should we fire, sir? Harper asked. Ellis said calmly. No, we wait. But if they shoot first, we end it. And so, in the cold darkness above Zarian Prime, three forces now faced each other. One wanted peace. One came with power. And the third unknown, silent, deadly, was just arriving. The galaxy was about to find out what Earth does. When someone threatens its own, it began without warning. A massive fleet dropped out of warp at the edge of Zarian Prime's orbit. Dozens of ships, black, sharp, and burning hot, entered the system. They weren't from Earth. They weren't from any known galactic species. Their signals were silent. Their weapons were already charged. Inside the Council Command Center, alarms screamed. Unknown ships just arrived, shouted an officer, not responding to hails. Admiral Theros leaned forward. Did they carry a flag? Any identification? The officer shook his head. None. They're already moving toward. The Moon Ambassador Kira stared at the screen. The ships looked like shadows, like knives in space. She whispered, "Who are they?" Within seconds, the unknown fleet opened fire. Bright red beams cut through the sky. Council defense satellites exploded. The outer guard stations were destroyed in under a minute. Explosions lit up the orbit of Zarian Prime. Civilians screamed as the first blasts struck the domes on the surface. Entire buildings were wiped out. The Council had no time to plan. Ships scrambled from the moon to fight, but they were outnumbered and outgunned. The enemy didn't talk. It just killed. In the middle of all the chaos, the human envoy ship stayed silent. Inside, Captain Ellis stood on the bridge, watching the attack. His daughter was hidden in a safe room. His officers waited for the order. One of them said, "Sir, incoming fire is spreading. The Council forces can't hold. Should we move?" Ellis didn't speak. He opened a private line. "Battleship Oblivion. Confirm enemy identification." A deep voice replied. "Confirmed. Hostile fleet. Unknown origin. Weapons active. Zarian Prime, under attack." Ellis took a breath. Then he said the words the galaxy would never forget. Oblivion permission to engage. In space, the silent beast woke up. The Terran battleship moved fast. For something so big, it should have been slow, but it wasn't. Its engines roared to life. The armor panels shifted. Gun ports opened. Hundreds of them. Drones launched in all directions.
Ow.
Shields lit up like a second sun. The enemy ships saw it. They fired. The first shots hit Oblivion's shield and vanished. Then the real battle began. With terrifying precision, the human battleship returned fire. Long-range cannons ripped through enemy cruisers. Smart missiles danced through space and hit targets dead center. Railguns fired so fast, the enemy had no time to dodge. In just 3 minutes, 5 enemy ships were gone. The Council watched in shock. Their own ships were falling like flies, but Oblivion didn't take a single hit. It fought like it already knew this enemy, like it had prepared. Jairo, the Inari spy, recorded every second. He couldn't believe what he saw. This isn't a ship. This is a planet killer, he muttered. His client sent one message back. Get out now. On the surface, Ambassador Kira saw the sky change. The colors turned red, gold, and white from the fire above. But one shape cut through it. All the glowing, deadly shadow of Oblivion, fighting alone inside the human ship. Ella stayed calm. Report. 23 hostiles destroyed. 11 retreating. Remaining ships attempting to surround Oblivion, said Lieutenant Harper. Ellis nodded. Let them. Show them what happens when someone attacks Earth's friends. Back in space, the final stage of the battle began. The enemy fleet tried to surround Oblivion, but they were too late. The ship released its main cannon. It glowed like a burning star. A giant energy beam shot straight through 4 enemy ships, tearing them in half. Then came the shockwave. The last wave of enemies turned to run, but Oblivion had already calculated their escape routes. Earth drones had placed mines and traps before they even knew it. The retreating ships exploded one by one in 10 minutes. The enemy fleet was gone. The Council's defense fleet was nearly destroyed. But the human ship was untouched. Admiral Theros stared at the screen. "That ship saved us all," he said. His voice was shaking. "We never stood a chance without them." Ambassador Kira sent one final message to Captain Ellis. "You didn't just come to visit, did you? You came to protect us." Ellis replied simply, "No, we came to protect her." Attached was a picture of his daughter. Behind her, the burning sky. Peace had failed, but Earth had not. Now the galaxy knew. Earth may come with handshakes and smiles, but behind those smiles was a battleship. The sun rose over Zarin Prime. The moon looked calm, peaceful, and full of joy. The Galactic Council had planned a special event today, a festival to honor Earth's arrival. Flags of many worlds flew in the air. Dancers performed in the square. Music echoed across the domes. The humans were the guests of honor. Children held signs that said, "Welcome, Earth." Everything looked perfect. Captain Ellis and his team arrived at the center of the city. His daughter, Arya, walked beside him, holding a toy starship. She wore a small white dress and smiled at everyone. The council hoped that showing Earth's trust by bringing even a childhood showpiece was real. News drones flew around, recording every move. But not far from the main stage, trouble was waiting. A young security officer named Talvek stood near the human group. He was new, nervous. His job was simple: protect the humans. But when he saw the large crowd pushing closer, he grew tense. Too many people, too much noise, and he noticed something. Strange Arya had wandered a few steps away from her father, near the edge of the crowd. Talvek moved quickly to block the crowd from getting too close. Just then, a balloon popped behind him. A loud bang filled the air. Talvek panicked. He turned, saw a movement near Arya, and in pure fear, he raised his energy weapon and pointed it right at the child. Gasps filled the plaza. Drones captured the moment. The music stopped. For 5 long seconds, no one moved. Talvek didn't fire, but the damage was done. A weapon had been aimed at a human child. Captain Ellis didn't shout. He didn't run. He simply stepped between the guard and his daughter, took Arya's hand, and turned around. His face was calm, too calm. His officers formed a wall around him, and they walked back to their ship without a word. Ambassador Kira rushed to stop them. "Please, Captain, it was a mistake." He was scared. Ellis looked at her with cold eyes. "We understand, but it proves our point." She stepped closer. "He didn't mean harm," Ellis answered. "Intentions don't matter when the barrel is pointed at your child." The council begged him to stay. They promised to punish the guard. They offered more security, but Ellis refused. "We're leaving the moon. It's not safe." That was the last thing he said before entering the ship. Inside the human ship, the mood changed. Officers moved quickly. Systems were activated. Ellis gave a short order: "Send the second code." A burst of energy left the ship. This one was louder, stronger. Everyone heard it. The Council Command Center detected the signal and panicked. "Another message?" Admiral Theros asked. "To where?" "Same direction as before." The officer replied, "Sector 13, and it's stronger than the last one." Inari Spy Jero saw the signal too. His screen flashed with warnings. He wasn't in control anymore. The human tech was too fast, too secure. He backed up the files and sent one message to his client. "They're calling something, and it's almost here." News stations tried to spin the story. Minor incident, they called it. No harm done. But the image of a weapon pointed at a child played on every screen. And in the background, the look on Captain Ellis's face was cold, unreadable. That image scared people. In his private room, Ellis sat with his daughter. "Are you okay?" he asked. Arya nodded. He didn't shoot. He was scared. Ellis looked at her for a long time. "Yes," he said quietly. "But that's the problem." He stood and walked to the bridge of the ship. "How long until arrival?" he asked. His second-in-command replied, 2 hours, maybe less. Ellis gave a slow nod. "Tell them to stop just outside sensor range. No movement until I say so." Back in the council chamber, fear was growing. The data was clear now. Something large was moving toward Zeron Prime. It didn't respond to signals. It had Earth's signature, but it wasn't the peaceful kind. Kira met with the others. We must talk to them. We must fix this. Admiral Theros shook his head. It's too late. They're calling for backup. And I think it's already here. Outside the moon, beyond the range of most sensors, something massive floated. In silence, it didn't speak. It didn't move. It only watched, waiting. And deep inside that silent ship, a voice spoke over a come line. Battleship Oblivion to Earth's envoy. Code received. Standing by, the skies above Zeron Prime looked calm. Blue clouds moved slowly over the city domes. Birds flew past the council tower. But deep in space, just outside the moon's sensor range, something massive floated quietly. It was the Terran battleship Oblivion, and it was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Inside the council command center, alarms started to beep. The scanners finally caught a shape moving in the distance. At first they thought it was a moon or an asteroid. But then it changed direction. It moved too smoothly, too controlled. It was a ship, a very large one. Unidentified vessel detected, said a technician, size unknown. Admiral Theros stood up from his chair. Is it responding to our hails? The technician shook her head. No reply. But the signal matches Earth's code. The council chamber went silent. News drones picked up the leak within minutes. Screens all over Zeron Prime flashed with breaking news. A large unknown ship approaches, possibly human. The peace had already been broken. Now it was turning into fear. On the human ship, Captain Ellis received the message, Oblivion, in position. He stood still, hands behind his back, looking at a large screen. The battleship was there just outside the system, cloaked until now. It had arrived faster than anyone expected. His second-in-command, Lieutenant Harper, looked worried. Sir, should we reveal the ship's ID? Ellis didn't answer right away. After a moment, he said yes. Let them see. Let them know Earth doesn't come unguarded. The Oblivion activated its signal beacon. One short message was sent across the stars. Terran superdestroyer Oblivion present. Standing by for orders. The council panicked. They brought a warship. A member shouted, It's not a defense ship. It's a capital-class battleship. Kira, still trying to stay calm, said, We don't know their purpose yet. Maybe it's protection after the incident with the child. But everyone saw the truth. The humans hadn't come alone. They had brought something terrifying. Ship that made the council's top-class cruisers look small. Ship that didn't respond to any orders. Ship with unknown power. Ambassador. Kira tried to contact Captain Ellis. He agreed to a meeting. When she entered the room, he was looking at a projection of the Oblivion. It spun slowly in space, glowing with deep blue engines and dark armor. It looked like a sleeping beast. You should have told us, she said. We had a right to know. Ellis turned. No, you had a right to meet us. Peacefully. That's what we gave you. You also gave us fear, she replied. A ship. Like that. Why bring it to a peaceful meeting? Ellis walked over to the window. Because peace is only real if you have strength to protect it. She looked at him. Is this how Earth makes friends? He looked back, voice calm. No. This is how Earth avoids losing them. Back in the council tower, Admiral Thoros prepared emergency defense orders. If that ship enters our space, we block it. If it doesn't stop, we respond. But someone else in the room said, Do we even know if we can stop it? On the surface, people were scared. Shops closed, streets emptied, families rushed. Home. The idea of a human warship so close made them uneasy. They remembered the footage of the child being threatened. Now, they feared what Earth might do in response. A few small council defense ships were sent to the edge of the system. They approached the Oblivion slowly. They hailed it again and again. This time it replied. A single voice spoke across all channels. Cold. Mechanical. Deep. Terran ship Oblivion. Weapons offline. Engines idle. Defensive mode active. Do not engage. The voice caused chills. One small scout ship scanned the oblivion. What it found shocked the council. The ship was over 20 kilometers long. Its armor was layered with neutron-dense material. Weapon ports numbered in the hundreds. Energy cores. Unknown design. Admiral Theros looked at the report. If that ship fires even once, we won't survive it. Back in his quarters, Captain Ellis received another message. His officers read, "It allowed Oblivion standing by, awaiting further command. Foreign defense units detected. Passive lock initiated." Ellis nodded. "Hold fire, but prepare for full response. If anyone fires first, we end it fast." Lieutenant Harper asked, "Do you think they'll try something?" Ellis didn't smile. They always do. And above them all, the Oblivion waited, silent, massive, patient. Like a storm behind the stars, just one wrong move away from breaking. Everything peace was still possible. But only if no one made another mistake. The battlefield above Zarin Prime was quiet now. Wreckage from the unknown enemy fleet floated in space, still glowing with fire. Pieces of broken ships spun slowly, like silent warnings. The Council's defense forces were almost gone, burned, shattered, or drifting. Only one ship stood strong among the destruction. The Terran battleship Oblivion. Inside the council chamber, no one spoke for a long time. They had just watched the impossible. A single human ship had fought off an entire fleet and won. Not with luck, but with pure deadly power. It hadn't just defended itself. It had outplanned, outgunned, and outmatched everything the enemy threw at it. Ambassador Kira looked at the burning sky through the dome. "That ship," she whispered. "It wasn't just here to protect. It was ready for war from the start." Admiral Theros didn't disagree. "We were never in control. Earth came prepared for something we didn't even see coming." He looked around the room, voice low and serious. "We thought they were weak. It may know they were watching, waiting." On the Terran envoy ship, Captain Ellis stood by the window. His daughter was safe. The enemy was gone, but his face was still tense. The battle was won, but the message was only beginning. Lieutenant Harper approached. "Damage report from Oblivion. 0. Not a scratch." Ellis nodded. "Good." In council response. "They haven't said much. Hey, but I think they're afraid now." Ellis turned to Chi. "The bridge crew, prepare a broadcast. One message, one time. The whole galaxy needs to hear this." Within minutes, every communications screen across the star systems turned black. Then a message appeared. The face of Captain Ellis filled the screen. Calm, steady, cold. "To all members of the Galactic Council, and all who watched Earth's arrival, we came in peace. We brought our children, trusted you. And when danger came, Earth responded. This is not a threat. This is a promise." Behind him, the image changed. It showed the Oblivion floating in space, its weapons glowing. Didn't move, but it didn't need to. Its presence was enough. "Earth will never start war, but we will always finish it."
Ow.
The message ended. Silence followed. But no one laughed. No one mocked Earth again. Back on Zarian Prime, survivors of the attack began crawling from shelters. Council rescue crews started working. Smoke filled the air, and the city looked wounded. But thanks to Earth, it was still alive. Ambassador Kira met Captain Ellis near the remains of the festival plaza. She looked tired, sad, but also thankful. "You didn't have to help us," she said, "but you did." Ellis didn't smile. "We don't leave our friends behind." Kira paused. "Is that what we are now, friends?" Ellis looked at the ruined buildings, the injured children being carried to safety. Then he looked at his own daughter, sleeping in a small rescue tent. "We'll see," he said. "Friendship takes time and trust." Jero, the Inari spy, tried to escape the moon. He had stolen enough data to make him rich for a lifetime. But now, that didn't matter. What he saw in battle changed everything. He realized something no one else had dared to say out loud. Earth didn't win. By luck, Earth knew this would happen. They had planned. They had expected betrayal, or attack, or something worse. They had prepared for it all. Back at the council chamber, Theros held an emergency meeting. We need to rethink everything. He said, if Earth has one ship like Oblivion, how many more do they have? 10? 100? A scientist from the scanner division answered, we don't know. Earth's outer systems are locked behind black zone codes. We can't even spy on them, another member whispered. We laughed at them for hiding, but now, maybe they were just waiting for the right moment. Theros nodded. And now, the moment has come. Earth was no longer just a new voice in the galaxy. Earth was a force, storm hidden behind smiles and peace flags. The Council didn't just meet a new species, they had awakened something they didn't understand. Captain Ellis stood by his ship that night. The stars above were clear again. Peaceful. But he knew better. Peace was never free. It had to be protected. Fought for. And Earth had learned that lesson long ago. Lieutenant Harper came beside him. Do you think they'll come back? The ones who attacked us? Ellis looked at the stars. If they do, they won't leave alive. And far above them, floating like a silent god in the black sea of space, Oblivion waited cold, patient, and ready, just in case the galaxy forgot what happened. When Earth got angry, across the galaxy, many things had changed. Old enemies had vanished, new alliances had formed, trade was growing, planets that once feared war now lived in quiet. But this peace did not come from luck or promises. It came from one truth. Every species now understood, if you threaten Earth, or its friends, the battleship will come. On a distant world called Orvin 5, trouble was building again. A new warlord had risen. His name was Vectal, leader of the Core Dominion. He was strong, proud, and cruel. He believed the galaxy had grown soft. He had heard the stories about Earth, about Oblivion, about Captain Ellis, about Zarin Prime, but he laughed at them. Stories, he said, tales to scare children. Earth hides behind words. They're cowards with big ships and no will to fight. He began taking smaller colonies first, trade outposts, then full planets. He moved fast, brutal, efficient. He avoided human territory, but he didn't stay far. He thought Earth would stay silent. He was wrong. One day, a small human transport ship was attacked by core raiders near the edge of a neutral system. There were no soldiers on board, only families, farmers, children. The ship sent one final message. Before the signal cut out, we are under fire. Civilians aboard, requesting help. If anyone can hear, then silence. The news reached Earth within minutes. It was confirmed. A core ship had destroyed a Terran civilian vessel. No warning. No demands. Just death. At the Terran High Command, the response was immediate. Commander Lynn Voss stood before her war council. She looked at the screen showing the wreckage. Her voice was calm, controlled. They've made the same mistake others did. She said, send the message. Single transmission was sent to the Core Dominion. It had no music, no colors, no introductions. Just one sentence in a cold Terran voice. You killed our people. The battleship is coming. The Core laughed again. Let them come, Vectal said. Let them try. 2 days later, a shadow entered core space. It wasn't Oblivion this time. It was a newer ship. Bigger, sharper, faster. Its name was Vengeance. Without. Speaking without slowing, Vengeance broke through the first core fleet in minutes. Their ships exploded like paper. Their weapons had no effect. Their leaders begged for surrender, but Vengeance did not stop. Terran drones filled the sky. Every base, every shipyard, every command tower was destroyed with surgical precision. No civilians were harmed, no planets were burned. But every weapon the Core had was gone. Then Vengeance stopped. One final message was sent to Vectal himself. Earth does not ask twice. The Core Dominion collapsed overnight. Back on Earth, the people did not cheer. There were no celebrations, no parades. Only silence. Another threat had come. Another threat had been ended. That was enough. Captain Ellis watched the news from his home. Arya, now a commander herself, stood beside him. She asked, why do they keep testing us? Ellis replied, because some people only understand power after it hits them. She looked at him. Did we do the right thing? He nodded. Slowly, we always give a warning. If they don't listen, we protect our own. Is what matters. Across the stars, peace returned again, but it was not the soft peace of words and promises. It was the peace of Earth, a peace built on strength, on action, on the unspoken rule that now echoed in every dark corner of space. If you cross the line, the battleship will come. Somewhere in the black silence of deep space, the Terran fleet continued to grow. New ships, new crews, new missions, all trained not to attack but to protect, because Earth did not want war. But if war came, Earth would not run. They would arrive quietly and without warning, and behind them would follow the shadow of a ship so powerful, so precise, so unstoppable that even the bravest warlords now check their skies. Twice before pointing a weapon at a human, it didn't matter where, it didn't matter who. One law remained. Peace is offered once. After that, we send the battleship. The galaxy would never forget it.